Okay. Good afternoon, everybody. We're happy to present here. Please let me introduce my colleague, Becky, who's going to do the first introduction, and I'll bring it back to myself.
Fantastic. Great. Thanks, Tom. So thank you all for joining us today. As Tom said, my name is Becky, and I'll be one of the co-hosts of today's webinar about the residential summer programs that are running in the UK. A little bit about myself. So I've really worked supporting students with residential programs, etc., for the last sort of 4 or 5 years. Those have kind of been in top universities within the UK, like the ones we have on offer today. Before that, I also studied natural sciences at Cambridge. So I've kind of gone through the process of kind of trying to build a background up for strong university applications. And I'm here today really to explain a little bit more about the academic side of things and how these programs are going to be incredibly useful in building up that strong background for whatever your future endeavors may be.
Cool. Yeah, so my name's Tom Richards, as you can see on the screen. I've been working in the language school industry and summer school industry for about 16 or 17 years now. That means that I've run courses in London, in Oxford, and in Cambridge, in America, and pretty much spent my whole life, all of my summers running summer schools, language schools, and higher education courses. I'll be somebody who's talking about the logistics and the plans, etc., and helping you through that study plan. So when you go from where you're living right now to the UK and beyond with our company here. Okay. So for those of you that know about summer schools, you'll know that most summer schools are ranged from, excuse me one second, age range from about 10 years old to 18. That doesn't mean that if you are 8 or 9 years old that you couldn't come along. You can always ask questions, and probably should say this. If you've got questions throughout this, please put them in the chat box. We'll do our best to answer them at the end. And if you've got them live at the end, absolutely fine, however you would like to ask. We're running 2 and 4 week programs for students aged 10 to 18. Generally, students come for 2 weeks. It tends to be that way that things are done. Students can improve in 2 weeks. Students generally improve within about 3 days of being in these courses, in my experience. 4 week courses are also available. And again, if you're looking at progression and strong progression, that is something that you can explore with us too. Our locations. So you may be interested in Cambridge or Oxbridge, as it's called. We have a course in Cambridge at one of the old colleges. I'm going to go into detail a little bit later. And then we've got two boarding schools, which are either side of the UK. Again, a great experience in beautiful locations that you'll be able to see with us. Something that we offer that other companies and courses do not is a year-round care. So tomorrow, for example, our students who came in the summer have been offered a free course on Saturday to go through whatever it was that they studied. So our tutors who work with us year round, we have about 420 tutors that work with us year round, will be offering the same or different lessons, obviously not the same lessons, but different lessons on the same subjects this weekend. And then they'll be offering it again twice more after 3 and 6 months. There's also one lesson before you come to the course, so you can meet people from all over the world and the friends and the tutors that you're about to meet. So that's what makes us a bit different from other schools out there.
Yeah, and kind of expanding on that a little bit more, what we've kind of really aimed to do with these summer programs is make them that little bit more of a different experience. We've had feedback from our students on previous years, and we've really listened to it and incorporated that into we want our summer programs to be. So they are really designed and shaped by what students want from them. So one of the key kind of things that we're looking at is the curriculum that students take. Sometimes on summer programs, the lessons can seem a little bit disjointed. There isn't necessarily a really strong flow through the curriculum. We are going to have an expertly designed curriculum that will see that progression for students as they move through either the 2 or the 4 week course. And that progression won't just be from sitting in the classroom, learning about different things. This will be through hands-on project-based learning. You're coming during the summer. You want something exciting, you want something fun, and that's what we want to provide. So, for example, if you're looking at one of the Young Leaders courses, which we'll take a look at in a second, things like video game design, whether it be the graphics or whether it be the coding, will be incorporated into that program. Same for the older students as well, things like robotics, or if you're interested in engineering, taking apart a car engine, redesigning it. These kinds of activities are what we're looking to include into our summer programs for 2025. We really want to incorporate those wow moments. The other thing that makes us really different is the quality of teachers that we use as well. We don't just use our teachers for summer, they are people that have worked with us throughout the entire year. And then we bring the top 30% from our online tutors to come in person and teach you during the summer. So you're going to be getting the very best of the best and teachers that we know are good because we've had that positive feedback from students previously. So we're tried and tested when they come to the summer schools and run these lessons.
Okay, so a little bit about what we've done previously and where it's moving towards. In 2023 was the first course offered here, and I can tell you that we had about 20 students and 20 students in the 2 weeks, and then we had a closed group that came in that took us to 40 students. Anyone who knows summers will know that that is quite a good start into summer education. This year, what happened was the course that we ran completely sold out. So from a year where it was moderate, it was fine, to a year where it was completely sold out. We see progression next year, and as Becky alluded to that, we want to improve our syllabus. It was good. It's been good. It's great, but we want to make it the best. So next year, we're looking to increase those student numbers and that whole student experience. Another couple of courses were ran as well, and you'll see this very soon. We ran for younger students, and it went well. Again, we want to improve on that. We don't want to stand where we are. And one for slightly older students, which is a new course, and you're going to see that too. We're very excited about it because it's in our wheelhouse. In terms of feedback, you can see that our feedback is good. I would say that's really good. We intend to make it better with those wow moments, with those student experiences. And I can go into more detail when we start talking about the course in a second. Okay, 3 different options that we have here. So you may have looked at summer schools before. If you have, then you'll know a TEFL plus option. That means teaching English as a foreign language plus, I don't know, football or art or drama or something like that. As you can see from the screen, I've been around a little while in this industry. That was fine 20 years ago. But now students, and I can speak for my son, who's 10 years old, 11 years old, I should get that right. He will be going into one of these courses this year, and he did TEFL Plus last year. And the thing is, his level of English is good, but he wants to improve. So what we're doing with Leaders of Tomorrow is making it more interactive, more immersive. And students will, yes, practice English, but they'll do it through learning something that they're really interested in, rather than sitting there and doing rote learning, present perfect, continuous, etc. That's not the way things need to be done anymore. USE, or University Subject Exploration. This is the course that I was talking about before, the one that's grown and is growing and will be better for 2025, even better for 2025. I'll go into more detail here in a few minutes, but it's a great opportunity to discover what you'd like to study in the future. So if you've got an idea of what you want to study, it's a great one that looks into where the possibilities truly are for you. And then the University Application Bootcamp is new to leading education this year, but it's something that we've been doing for about 8 years, truthfully, online. My apologies. And we've been doing it for a long time with Wiser Education, and we see that we're going to do this now when we go into the in-person courses too. Okay. As I mentioned, USE. So the offering here is biomedical sciences, STEM or humanities. So they're the main subjects that you'll see. If you look at any other summer school or language school, they will offer something similar. What's different when you come to Wiser Study is that biomedical science will offer four different areas of study. So chemistry, biology, psychology, medicine. And you get 2 days of each of those. Rather than with other companies where they do one or two areas of learning, this is for students who aren't sure what they want to do. So if they want to pick what they want to do, if they're interested in humanities, fine, they'll get a taste of absolutely everything in there. Again, with our tutors that are specially trained and working with us year in, year out. It's a course that's ran so well, and I actually ran it 2 years ago. I was on site watching it run. It's unique, it's perfect, it works so well, and I couldn't sing its praises enough. If we start to look at the location and where it will be, um, Murray Edwards College is in Cambridge. Very beautiful college. It's about 10 minutes from the center, and as in a 10-minute walk. So very, very close proximity to the center. And the walk goes over the Magdalen Bridge where punting goes on. Lovely, lovely scenic location. And I've been there a lot of times. I've worked there a lot of times, but still love the surroundings. Students must be 14 years old plus here. That is due to insurance at the Cambridge colleges. 2 and 4 weeks available, and we'll start on the 6th of July. Something about Murray Edwards, which is really interesting, is that it's actually an all-female college during term time. But during the summers, it doesn't matter if you're male or female. Everyone can work and study there. And like you said, I've done it a couple of times myself. Offers really, really sort of new classrooms, as you can see in the pictures, with a really cool, classic, and very unique style college, which is just outside, like I said, Cambridge itself. It's home to the largest female art collection in Europe. If you Google that, you will see famous artists, generally female artists. And as you walk down the corridors, you can see people who are famous in films. If you watch films, you will see these ladies that were put their art there. Rooms are comfortable, spacious, and they are ensuite too. When we look at the timetable, sorry, Becky.
Oh yeah, the timetable. Sorry, go on.
Finally, the timetable. With Wiser Study, what I want to say here is that this is a sample timetable. Becky mentioned in the beginning, if you're looking at something like medicine or chemistry or whatever it may be, these subjects, apologies, will have a feeling of going into the classroom and not just sitting in a chair, but actually doing what's there to be done. So with medicine, you might be creating a medicine. And I say creating a medicine because please don't try this at home, but you will be there with someone qualified who shows you how to create that medicine itself. And chemistry, you will be doing experiments. You'll be seeing what reacts with what within reason. Please, please let me state that, but within reason. It is a sample timetable, but this is pretty much what it's going to look like if you come to study. And then you'll do the two other subjects the following week. Now I can hand over.
Yeah. Fantastic. I just wanted to say on this as well, like having gone through the process of deciding what subject I wanted to do myself, this kind of course would have been so useful. There's so many students out there at the age of 14, 15 that have to pick their A levels or their IB choices. And that could be a difficult decision. And what you decide there can really shape what you do in the future. So by coming on a course like this and really narrowing down what you want to do, it can really excel into what you want to do in the future. So instead of just going and doing a chemistry summer camp and then coming away and maybe even realizing that chemistry might not be for you, this gives you those more broad options to make sure that you're making the right decision with what you want to do in the future while building up a strong background. And on to the second course we want to talk about. So this is our Leaders of Tomorrow program. So as we kind of talked about, what we wanted to do with our younger student program is make it that more exciting for students of those ages of 10 to 15 to come and really build up a skill set that is going to allow them to excel in the future. Because I imagine there's a lot of students here today who have got pretty strong levels of English. That's not the main focus of what they want to achieve in the summer necessarily. Yes, you might want to boost it up in an environment where you are surrounded by people who are constantly speaking the language, but it's that skills focus as well that'll be really useful to you. So what we've tried to do is incorporate 5 core skills that are really important to help students build up a strong background. So problem solving, teamwork, creativity, communication, and citizenship. The way we've decided on these skills is by looking at what employers, universities, higher education wants in the future and starting to lay down those foundations from an early age. And you'd be working on big problems. So for something like creativity, as I've mentioned, looking at things like, okay, how do you design this video game? But for something like citizenship, really tackling big problems in the world of how do you create a city that's going to be safe from climate change in the future? So there'll be a mixture of problems and projects that you'll be tackling through your time here. The location we've chosen for this is All Hallows School, which is in Somerset in the UK. So you can see again, like with all our programs, there's that 2 or 4 week option, and the dates are from the 13th of July till the 8th of August. Now, in terms of the location of All Hallows, as you can see from the photos, it is a beautiful English boarding school. It has that real traditional feel to it in the buildings. And this is great because students of the age of 10 to 14 especially can't go and experience those Oxbridge locations yet because the colleges don't allow people of that age to stay. So what we've done here is create a replacement that is as good, is as beautiful, where you can come and you can still have that same feeling. It's about, so it's close to Bath in terms of its location, which is a nearby city. The reason as well that this is great for students of this age is it's in quite a rural location, but while still having easy connections to places like Bath, Bristol for trips, excursions. So there's everything that a student could possibly want on site with regards to sports facilities, the grounds, the accommodation, the rooms, but then it's also got that slightly more rural feel. You can see this in the sample timetable as well in terms of what I discussed on projects. So it is going to be a project-based focus. The lessons will be grouped in terms of classes by different English levels. So if you're a beginner on English, you'll be in more of a beginner class. Again, advanced will be in the advanced classes. And this timetable and this structure will look a little bit different depending on that English level and depending on that age as well of the students, because we want to make sure that the age category of 10 to 13 is enjoying it as much as the age category of 13 to 15, because there can be different interests there. So as Tom mentioned, this is a sample timetable. The reason for that is that there will be slight changes to account for different levels and different ages to make sure that everybody is having the best experience they can possibly have. You'll also get the excursions to key places within the UK, so London, Bath, we're looking into those as well. So those will be included, so 2 excursions per week with those projects placed in between so that students can really build up those skills. Now, moving on to take a look at the older student program. So this is for students aged 16 to 18. Now, with the other 2 courses that we've talked about today, it doesn't matter whether you want to study in the UK, the US, where you're from, it doesn't matter. These programs are still going to be useful in building up a strong background and making decisions on what you want to do. This program, however, is just for students who are considering or do want to study in the UK in the future. So by the ages of 16, 17, 18, you should have a good idea of the locations that you're interested in, and that's why we're focusing on this here. Now, this program kind of takes 2 different approaches in terms of preparing students. Now, the first is, of course, the academic approach. It's the University Application Bootcamp. We want to make sure that you come away feeling prepared and ready to go through this UK application process. So whether that be working on your personal statement, having that mentorship from someone who has studied at a top university in the UK themselves, supporting you through that process of building up the personal statement. There's changes as well coming with the personal statement next year in terms of the structure and the format. So having that space where someone's able to explain that to you will also be really useful. The admissions tests. Now, with the admissions tests, it's going to be very much starting off with a diagnostic test that's going to be able to assess your areas of strengths, your areas of weakness, and really tailoring the lessons and the program around that as well. So with the admissions test, there's going to be the support there too to take your grade to being around average to being an excellent grade with these admissions tests. The interviews as well are often the most intimidating part of the process when applying to an elite university in the UK. We'll do mock interviews, we'll practice techniques, we'll explain the most common types of questions that come up. So all of this support will be given to you through the program. Now, alongside that, studying in the UK isn't just about getting in. You actually have to move to a new country. You're going to want to enjoy it, and you're going to want to make the right decision in terms of where you want to go, where you want to live. So there's the pastoral element to this program as well, of talking about what life is going to be like in the UK as a student, introducing you to people that have gone through it, them giving you help and support in terms of what this transition is going to look like. Also doing excursions to places like London University, such as Imperial or LSE or UCL, and Oxford and Cambridge, so that you can see what these universities look like and make an informed decision on where you want to go in the future as well. Now, the location for this will be in Tunbridge School in Kent. Now, again, as you can see from the photos, it is a beautiful location where students will be able to get that experience of studying in the UK. The reason that we have chosen this as a location is because of its location and where it is in the UK. If we're going on the day trips to do the universities visits in London, in Cambridge, and Oxford, this is in a position that makes it really easy to get to those locations. It's a very central point, which really amplifies what we're doing in terms of that pastoral element. It's also just a fantastic school in its own right. It's part of the Eton Group, which has produced 20 prime ministers, and it's got a top boarding school for A-level results in the UK. So it has got that academic feel to it as well, to really put students in an environment where they are going to excel in their university applications. Now, this timetable does look a little bit different to the other ones. You can see that there's sort of three main types of lessons that we work with through this program. We've got lectures, some of which will be given by sort of former Oxbridge professors as well. We've got workshops and we've got mentorship. Mentorship will be one-on-one. So if you're doing drafts of that personal statement, you're going to have someone there guiding you on an individual basis, as well as having the support through the workshops and the lectures as well. We really want to put students in a good position through this to get them set up well, because that summer before you apply to university can be so important. We want to make sure that through our program, you are doing the very best you can and getting the very best out of the time that you are dedicating towards this, because it's going to be so impactful on your applications.
Okay, yeah. So Becky is our academic lead basically, and any questions you've got about the academic side of things, she'd be happy to help with. She's been through the process, so she knows exactly how to answer and how to help. If we start to look at what's included in the summer schools, so a social program, that's important for everybody, not just young people, but maybe especially young people. So on each of the courses, there will be evening activities which are suited to your age range and to your likes and to your wants and needs. All meals are included, all accommodation is included in the price. So you don't have to go here or there to get something from different places. Lots of schools offer that. Everything is included in one price here. Airport transfers. This is so important, and I know that parents will really care here. If you're not traveling with your children, you'll need to know that they're safe when they land in the UK. This is something that I personally take care of and make sure that somebody's there to meet the student, you or your child, when they land in the UK. So depending on where they're going to, which of the centres it is, we will be there. One of our team members will be there, and they will collect you and take you to the school. They shouldn't have to wait longer than an hour in the airport, and we understand that there will be delays and things like that. I promise you that we will accommodate for all of those things. Insurance, if something happens, it shouldn't, but if something does happen, everybody's completely fully insured. And if you want a copy of the insurance policy, that's something that we can provide. Everyone will get certificates. These will be filled in by your tutors, who are Oxbridge tutors, which is a great thing to have. And you get a certificate from your college, wherever you've been. And year-round tuition there. I mentioned it in the beginning. So you will be invited to online sessions with us, and you will be able to meet friends and restudy. Okay, a little bit to reiterate here. Why go with why is the study? This is the reason why. We are looking at pre-arrival lessons, so you meet people. It's really cool. Honestly, for me, I join these meetings sometimes, and I see students go into a room from different countries and meet each other for the first time. And then when they meet each other in the school, it's brilliant to see you've made that connection already. So fantastic. There'll be pre-reading resources. When we're talking about the USE course specifically here, you'll get some reading material. The reason for that is, as a native English speaker, if I went into a biomedical sciences class, I'm not 100% sure I'd understand all of the language. So you'll get that pre-reading material, and you'll be able to check the vocabulary, and it'll be a nice introduction into what you do in the classroom. Trips to top universities, as Becky mentioned, these will be planned, and you will get to see these, especially with the two older courses, because we know that you're looking at pre-university. Hands-on project-based work. This is across the board, basically. As interactive as we can absolutely make it, we will. It should be interesting. It should be fun. You should be looking back in a few years and say, yeah, that was really cool. It's a great experience. And it gave me the stepping stone to do A, B, or C. And like I said, year-round tuition. You're never alone. Once you've signed up with us, you're welcome to pick our brains. I know that it'll be more Becky's brain than my brain, but you're welcome to pick our brains on future study.
Yeah, and just to expand a little bit on the tutors that will be running this program and will be teaching you the lessons, we have such a wide selection of tutors that have studied themselves at Oxbridge, or sort of around 90% of our tutors are Oxbridge, and the other 10% are Imperial, LSE, UCL. Those tutors come from a wide variety of subject expertise. So we bring that variety of knowledge together into the subject program, into the summer schools. We are choosing the best of the best. They'll have been trained by us, they'll have been safeguarding trained as well, and they bring a wide area of expertise in terms of their previous work with students. But we're not just relying on that, which already makes them excellent for the course. We are also going to be providing them with materials that allow them to excel. They will have everything they need to be able to work to a really high level with the students. They'll be able to do these exciting projects, plus have the background and the knowledge to be able to explain them in the right way as well. So students can really take these role models away from their experience and meet them online throughout the rest of the year as well.
Okay, into a bit more of the operational sense of the summer school. So this is something that you're going to be interested in, and if you're a student, you're not going to want to see this. You're not going to want to know it's there. Parents, agents, you're going to need to know that it's there and to see it in process. So I can guarantee that myself. I'm a control freak, so all three schools will be visited regularly by myself. All of the management will be underneath me, essentially. Everything will go through me. And I'm imagining there won't be any complaints, so we won't need to deal with any of those. Obviously, I'm kidding. Any worries, you can go straight to myself or to the center team. The center team, unique again with Wiser Study here. You're going to see that my team is people that I've worked with, and I'm using me here. The people that I've worked with over the last 10 or 15 years and trained to do the job of center director, activity manager, or director of studies. So you're going to get experience in there. It's not just going to be plucked from here, there, or anywhere. Becky mentioned everyone will be trained and in welfare and safeguarding. It's really important in these days that we understand what's going on with children. And I will sit down and I will make sure that everybody's aware of what they should do in certain situations. And they'll be instructed to call me if they come up against something they're not sure about. It probably goes without saying, but I'm going to say it. There's a zero tolerance policy when it comes to drug, alcohol, and smoking. Bullying to any of the isms, they are not allowed or tolerated in our summer schools. And I think you'd agree with me that it's the best way of doing things to nip them in the bud immediately. It's a short course and everyone should enjoy themselves. Generally, our ratio of 1 to 6. So for the younger students, for sure, you'll see that we have one leader per 6 students. With the older ones, that varies a little bit more. It will go up to about 8 per one, but they should require less care, but it's not always the case, and I'm sure you can agree with me there. I alluded to experienced management teams. You can see myself and Becky here. We do have a team behind us as well, so there's always someone available. We've been doing it again for quite a while, so we don't imagine we're going to see anything new, but every year brings something. I mentioned we're on site at all times. There'll be a 24-hour emergency phone. Now, I know that students today have their own phones and are well connected, but you'll always be able to reach one of our team, usually the center director, and then myself if required. Mentors will be working at the schools too, and these are the young people that you saw in those CVs. So our tutors and our mentors come from the same pool, and they have the same knowledge, and they'll be working alongside students on trips, activities, and things like that. And students tend to bond with them, and they'll be able to ask them questions about whatever it is what they want to do. So if it's history or if it's biology, whatever it is, these mentors would have been through it too. Tutors, I think we've alluded to their experience. They're working right now for our company, so happy to back them. And TEFL tutors, so that will come down to the younger course. You'll see there's a more TEFL feel to it with a humanities/STEM background. And they'll be very, very approachable, fun, exciting people that the students will want to meet and be around. Okay, usually what we do here is a little pause for people who want to ask any questions. There's the chat bar or at the bottom if you'd like to type anything in. If you've got anything you'd like to ask, you can look at the frequently asked questions on the screen. And that should answer some of the logistical things. But if you've got a question about the course or about the academic style of things, then please let us know. We'll give you a couple of minutes to think, okay?
Great. So we've got a couple of questions starting through. So I'll start reading them out and then sort of allocate them between myself or Tom, depending on what area they fall into. So what steps do you take to keep students safe on campus, especially those who are traveling alone or are new to the UK? Tom, this is probably more of a question for you in terms of the logistics.
Yeah. So regardless of age, students are met at the airport by a team member. And from that moment, you fall under our care. So whether you're 10 or whether you're 18, it doesn't matter. We'll take you to the college. Each of the colleges you've seen here have their own safety regulations and restrictions. So in most cases, we will be the only language summer school, sorry, on site. And that means we don't interact with other schools or anything, so there's no real problems. They've all got key cards, they've all got 24-hour porters, staff are on site the whole time as well. On trips, we have a higher ratio so that there's more staff members for students. So if somebody does get a little lost or something like that, then we are there on hand. We take student phone numbers and give them our phone number. We put them in a group, and if they do get lost a little bit on a trip, if they are allowed free time, then they'll call us, we'll call them, and we'll locate them. I have never, ever lost a student. And like I said, each of the centers has their own safety regime. So everybody's safe at all times. And then on their departure, we do the same thing in reverse. We take them to the airport, we stay with them until they're checked in and through security and safe. We provide them with a phone number until they leave. If they've got any issues, they can write or call us, excuse me, and we will not leave the airport until that plane has taken off. So 100% all the time safe.
Yeah, and I think also touching on that point of when they're new to the UK as well, it can be a little bit scary. I think those pre-arrival lessons that we have in place really help get them settled in and warmed up a little bit in terms of meeting the people. It can be quite a scary experience flying to a new location and meeting new people. And I think having that sort of point of contact before they even get there to warm up to those teachers, to really meet a couple of the friends they're going to make through the course can make a really big difference in terms of sort of mental well-being as well.
Yeah, very good point.
Great. How does taking part in the program impact a student's university application? Is there any advantage when applying to top schools like Cambridge? So I think probably one for me to take a little bit more is it's the academics, but the answer is yes, it will have a positive impact whether you're applying to Cambridge, Oxford, or other universities. Now, each of the courses will have a slightly different impact in terms of what they do, but that's done for a reason. Because, for example, if we look at the younger program, if we look at Leaders of Tomorrow, the idea there is to develop skills that are going to make them successful in the future. So whether that be communication, leadership, etc., that will help with things like interviews. That will help with things like admissions tests when it comes to problem solving. So developing these soft skills earlier, even if not completely linked to these applications at that stage when they're 12, 13, is still setting them up with a foundation that's going to allow them to succeed. The university subject exploration program as well for those middle students. What top universities like Cambridge look for is students who are passionate and sure about the course that they are applying for. Having said that, I've explored all of these different options and I've worked out that this is exactly what I want to do, is going to have a huge benefit when coming to things like the personal statement and the interviews, because you'll be able to explain how and why you made that decision. And I think the University Application Bootcamp sort of speaks for itself in terms of the help. Having that good personal statement, have gone through multiple mock interviews, is going to be incredibly useful before getting to that stage in the application process. So this pathway is kind of in place to develop the soft skills. Then once the soft skills have developed them, apply them to a certain subject. And when that subject choice is then being made, create a really strong application. It's a pathway that students can move through. Are there chances for students to meet with university faculty, alumni, or other professionals during the program? I imagine these connections could be really valuable. So probably one for us to split a little bit here, Tom. But I'll kind of, in terms of meeting the alumni, etc., yes. The people that will be teaching you on a day-to-day basis will be people like myself who have worked supporting students but have studied at Oxbridge and have been through that process. So meeting those alumni, seeing their journey, seeing what they've done will be in place there. And what we also have and who we have connections with is former professors from these universities as well. So there will be the opportunity to learn from them. These people will have been even sort of working on this application process previously, and now they're going to come in and support our students. So we are putting that in place and making sure that the people that are there supporting the students will be valuable interactions. I'm not sure if there's anything else you want to add on that, Tom.
I think you've wrapped that up very nicely.
Fantastic. So what's the application process like? Are there any specific requirements or prerequisitions for students to join the program? So in terms of actually applying to these programs, getting onto these programs, there's not going to be a specific test that students have to pass to get on there. The requirement is that we want to make sure they are going to enjoy it. That's why there are some sort of requirements in place with regards to English language level on some of the courses, because what we don't want to happen is for someone to do the university subject exploration, sit in all the lessons and not understand anything because their English level isn't high enough. So realistically, they're better off working on their English level first before joining our course. We want our students to enjoy it. So we do have the English level requirements in place there. But what we can also do is if you're uncertain if it's going to be right for you, we can run a little bit more of a language test, and Tom takes charge of those to make sure that the students are going to be happy on the program.
Yeah, absolutely. Everything that Becky said, tenfold. We in our first year running the course, excuse me, a couple of students were not quite up to scratch and basically didn't understand. So they were in the back of the class and it was very tough for them. So if your language level isn't exactly where you want it to be, we're talking about IELTS around 6.5 as a basis for USC, and then a little bit higher than that for the university bootcamp, education bootcamp. But that's why we have the future leaders, the leaders of tomorrow course. So it doesn't matter where your language level is. It can always be improved. And starting here, or here doesn't matter. But getting that experience first and then looking towards one of those courses after is such a good idea. It's such a good idea to go through the steps and through the process. I am an English teacher and I'm very happy to do an online session with you, just where we find out your level and find out what the course is best for you.
And then one of the final questions we've got through is, do you provide any support for international students who need a visa to attend the program? So Tom, probably one for you to take there.
Yeah. So here, yes, we have a visa letter, application letter, which helps you with your application to your embassy, wherever that may be. So it will say the course and who's running it, etc., and phone numbers. That would all come down to me. So if you need supporting calls or meetings, etc., with the embassy, then I can provide that personally, and you will get a letter that goes out saying that you are applying for this course for these dates, etc.
Okay, great.
Okay.
I
Is
think
that
that's
everything?
questions. Yeah. So if there are any more that come through, is that one more? Yep, one more. So is it possible for parents to join or accompany students during the course, or are there any activities designed for family involvement? Again, probably more logistical for you, Tom.
Absolutely. Cool. So, experience here says that yes, parents can come with students, but staying on site, um, absolutely not. Unless it's a group of students that's traveled with a parent or group leader, then we can talk about it. However, in every case where I've had a parent travel with a child, that child has stayed with mum or dad, especially the younger ones. If we're talking sort of my son's age, 11, 12, etc., they're still shy, they're still not sure. Every time I've had a 10-year-old come to the course and the parents have gone, good luck, call me, okay? And then come to me and said, look, please keep an eye, etc. That student maybe is sad for a day, but after that, they don't want to leave. So my advice here is bring the student. If you do want to stay in the UK during that time, fine. But use me or the center director as a point of contact. Can they come and visit? Of course they can come and visit, and the kids will be so happy. But what you want them to get from it is a feeling of independence. So again, my son came on the course last year. I put him on the course, and then I left. And he had my phone number, and if he needed something, fine. He didn't call unless he needed extra time on his phone. So my point is that give them that freedom. Yes, there is the scope to come and visit. Yes, there is the scope to come and interact, etc. But please give them the space that they need to grow. And if they need you, they will definitely call you. Okay.
Yeah. And I think one of the things to add there is something that we're looking at strengthening this year as well is I guess, every day having updates on like this is what they've been doing, the photos with regards to that, getting updates from that center so that you also feel reassured in terms of what they're doing. They're having fun. You can see them smiling in the photos. And that's something that we are looking at strengthening again this year because we want to make sure that those parents feel like they feel safe with having that child in a bit more of a different environment. And we make sure that that's as easy as possible for both sides as well.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Great. Perfect. Amazing.
Okay, great.
So, in terms of the next steps and kind of talking a little bit about kind of the timeline as well of what happens next, should you be interested in booking one of the spaces on the programs, please do contact the Wiser Study office in Dubai. They will be more than happy to support you through this booking process. A couple of points to note in terms of timeline for this. The early bird discount that we have running on the prices is only in place until the end of January. So if you are interested, I recommend you submitting your interest before then. The other thing that I will emphasize, as Tom said, these courses, or especially the middle ones, sold out last year. So if you are interested and do want to get your space in, please do contact. You can see the email address, the website on the screen here. We're going to be able to support, we're going to be able to help. Equally, if you want to have a chat to ask any questions one-on-one, or you want more information not done more in this format, then we are more than happy to support through that as well. We're here to kind of make this booking process and everything as easy as possible for you.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think I've got anything to add on that. Thank you very much for listening. Thank you very much for your time. And as Becky said, if you've got questions, then please do follow the links on the screen.
Yeah. Fantastic. Great. Well, I hope you all enjoyed the webinar today. And besides from that, I hope you all have a lovely rest of your day and a lovely weekend as well.